Welcome to the yard sale on my living room floor. I wanted to go over little gear. Some of it is very important because everybody talks about the big three, the backpack, the tent, the sleeping system. But what about all the little stuff? I mean, sometimes people just say, I have a toiletry bag. I have a first aid kit. Well, what's in it? So I'm really going to pull this apart, and I'm going to go through it really fast because if you're interested in anything, you can back up, of course. So to start off in one corner, those are my orthotics. Really important gear for me. Put in my boots, but I just pulled them out to show you. And here's what is in the lid. All of this is in the lid of my backpack. It really scrunches down and is very light. I have access to Aquamir for purifying water. I have a bottle of Purell, pretty big, but it'll probably last me the whole trip. My sunglasses, sunscreen. I could divide that up into a couple of smaller sunscreens for the trip, but right now that's what I have. Insect repellent, DEET specifically for ticks because this is tick season. I really believe that's important to have. Some first aid that I am most likely to grab if needed, and that is a bottle of ibuprofen. I know it's big, but I'm carrying it for the whole team. Also carrying some prescription medications in there. This is my kit for dealing with blisters. Learned how to do that in New Mexico heat. Wrapped with special perfect tape. Glucotape is absolutely perfect for dealing with blisters. Really stays on there, but there's extra binding stuff in there if you need it. There's also a couple of sewing needles if I got to deal with that and blisters, and a very small knife that, well, more than a knife is in there. Scissors are in there and a couple of things. You can't get smaller than that for a knife, but I need that if I'm dealing with cutting Leukotape. It doesn't tear as easily as duct tape. In a Ziploc bag, I have various hats and gloves that I've learned I need. It's going to be in the summer. We're going to have bugs, so I have a net hat. I also have a very light wool cap and gloves, which for me I need in the morning. And I have my sun gloves. I have a sun hat, which I will wear a lot. I have a buff, which sometimes I use when I'm sleeping. It just gives more, sealing in of the warmth. And what is this? Believe it or not, these are little neoprene plastic gloves. Boy, have these been a game changer for me in the morning. If the tent is damp, I put those on to deal with getting the tent down, and I don't get cold and wet. And they're, super lightweight, and I've got them in resupply boxes. If they get holes in it or dirty, I throw them out. Of course, body warmer is a first aid item. Somebody falls in a creek, we might need to warm them up fast. I also have a Ziploc bag of identification, a couple credit cards, a credit card, an ATM card, and cash and insurance card. Don't forget that. Then I have my navigation stuff, other than the Garmin app on my phone. I have map, compass, pencil, map mileage marker, which my brother gave me and is super cool, especially if you're going off the phone app and want to know how far you have to go on a paper map. I have our itinerary, I have a piece of paper, I have a pencil, I have eyeglasses, or all of that is for naught. Hanging on my straps are a handkerchief and a small hard-sided bottle, because even though my primary water bottles are soft-sided, I need a scoop sometimes in some streams or even stock tanks to get the water into the soft-sided bottle. I also keep that bottle on the front of my pack at all times. That's my primary drinking bottle during the day. I have on the back of the lid a carabiner and these are really cool. Got these at a fabric store. They're like little kilt pins. What's that for? It's for hanging my damp laundry off the back of my pack if it hasn't dried by the time I head down the trail. In the side pockets, or like the zip pocket on your hip belt, I have an emergency whistle. I have chapstick, sunscreen, chapstick. I have a hairband to press into service for anything you want a rubber band for. On the other side, I have snacks and energy chews In a bottom pocket, I have what I need for a bear hang to put a stone in there, and really good reflective bear hang cord. Also hanging nearby is bear spray. Need that where I'm going. Back pocket right behind my back, in the very back, I have something for me to kneel or sit on. I have sensitive knees. I do not like kneeling down on rock. It really swells my knee up, actually. A couple of bags for trash, because we'll be out there a long time. I'll bet I'll use more than one. Also handy in that back pocket, stuffed way down, is our OR rain gear, pants, and lightweight rain jacket. The toilet bag is back there. They say you should put nothing in those side pockets that you aren't willing to live without. So that's in the back, or more likely a back than a side pocket. I have the spade to dig a cat hole. I have another little bottle of Purell. It's got a logo on there, but I might not take that because a lot of people now, or I'm hearing more about it, are taking a small travel size little bottle that they fill with water to wash their hands or other body parts, and maybe reduce the use or the need for more toilet paper. I do have clean toilet paper in here, empty bag for dirty toilet paper. Pack it out, people. Don't leave it on the trail. And a small number of pads. Now what on earth? What's that for a woman my age? Well, they absorb sweat, ladies. They absorb sweat, and they also, think about it, using that can reduce your need for toilet paper in many situations. And they are a first aid item if somebody has a bad wound. So that's my toilet kit. Now, how many people get, actually show that to you? Personally, I hope that's useful. And now, speaking of sweat, I mean, you're going to stink on the trail, right? But there's more to sweat than just smell. There's chafing. So here's a way to deal with that and head it off at the pass. I have 2 sponges for cleaning up at night. This one says bum. That's for my lower body, so in my tired state, I don't forget which is which. This is for my upper body and face to, put some water on there and clean up at night before you crawl in that sleeping bag. Why stink that up every night? But specific to chafing, I bring a tiny container of balm. Balm, yes. You can find it as knuckle balm. You can find it with the nice smells or no smell at all, which is probably better. And this could be used if you're chafing anywhere. It could be on your feet. I've seen some bad chafing on hikers between their thighs, or where the sun doesn't shine. You can pretty much tell if somebody's got that issue because they're walking bow-legged and kind of funny. Don't let that happen. That is so uncomfortable. Look at this. It's tiny. Totally worth it. When you start sweating a lot, this chafing stuff needs to be prevented. So I got a small hairbrush, again wrapped with duct tape. I kind of put duct tape a few places, including my trekking poles. I've got my Noon tablets for electrolytes. I've got my vitamins or any other medications I have to have with me. Few luxury items. I have got a little tube of lotion. Take care of those feet. And a couple of containers of either a face cream, because I just dry out so much, and then I look really awful. I mean, I don't care a whole lot about what I look like out there, but I do have that as a luxury item. And one of these, I think it's this one, is CBD cream. Oh yeah, helps with the aches before I go to bed. Probably won't use it in grizzly bear country, but oh my, that makes me feel good. Got some camp soap for either me or dishes if I really need that. Toothbrush, toothpaste, dental floss. I don't know that I'll be bringing this, but sometimes I bring a couple of safety pins. Must be a holdover from one my grandmother always told me one should have. Anyway, and then working onto electronics. My bag, well, in addition to the Garmin Mini, which I, of course, hang outside on the outside of my pack, I have my headlamp. I have cords necessary for recharging any of this equipment, including my phone. I have a battery pack, pretty heavy duty because of the length of time we'll be out there. Spare batteries are for the headlamp. The dime sitting there, probably don't need that, but on occasion I can't get the dang opening. I can't get the battery case to open, and I've used a dime for that, though lately it's being more cooperative. And a plug so that when I get to a hotel, I've got a place to, or any place with a plug, I've got that to help me with recharging. Moving right along. First aid. A few Band-Aids, just a few of different sizes. New Skin, oh my gosh, is that a sweet thing to have if you've got some bad blisters, or any other cut. And then, so what do you take if you're not feeling well in the gut, especially? I've got a few of things for indigestion, some Pepto. This is an antidiarrheal in case you drank or ate something you shouldn't have. Aspirin and Tylenol, and just a 2 Dayquil if I happen to get a cold. Sting Ease, which I've definitely used when I've gotten a few stings. Speaking of stings, yours truly is not allergic to bee stings, but I am allergic sometimes to some kind of pollens or grasses. Especially good to have Benadryl with you, and antihistamine. Man, one time I thought my lungs were shutting down, and I wasn't on the trail. I was in Whitefish, Montana. So, you know, a couple things that might be unique to you should come along to keep you safe. Neosporin, of course, a little bit of cord and tape in case I have to go off trail and want to find my way back. This has come in handy. I've had to use one of these once to help out a fellow hiker, is a spare buckle in case one breaks on the trail. To repair my my sleeping pad, I have their little repair kit that came with it, a little tiny thing of Crazy Glue, and this must be the tiniest gear I have. This is an Allen wrench to handle the screws in my hiking poles. I don't have strong hands, and I'll be damned if I could get that thing. Oh dang it, it was hard to get the screws loosened up so I could collapse the poles before putting them in my pack to transport them on an airplane or other occasions. So that's for the poles. I'm going to separate out kitchen and water system. I have a pocket rocket stove here, very small, folds up nicely. This is to stabilize the fuel, and it also fuel cans, and it also folds up beautifully. A couple of fuel cans and a marker so that we can mark on the bottom how many we've used. This is really important. There is no fuel on this that we can buy on this entire stretch except in West Yellowstone, besieged by tourists. I can't count on this fuel being there either. So for this entire 6 weeks, this is not the total amount of fuel we'll be carrying, but we have to monitor our fuel use very carefully. The only other option was to have it delivered along the trail at, various motels by Amazon, and we decided not to deal with that. We will be carrying it split between 2 people. It's not so bad. Also in the kitchen, well, this knife, a utility knife is a good thing to have for a variety of situations that might come up. This one might not be the knife. If my brother's bringing a utility knife, this will come out. I bring, instead of a camp towel, I bring something lighter and quicker drying, and that is handy wipes for wiping out the pot or dishes, utensils afterwards, and a second one for wiping down other spills or damp tent, damp pack, especially because I use a pack liner, not a pack cover. The pack will definitely get wet in the rain. These are really light and dry fast. Some people just use dirt or sand to scrub out their pot from cooked food. I prefer a little scrubby. It's cleaner. That's just me. So for cooking pots, I have Cedar Summit, which I love this. I have their kettle, the bowl, and the mug all ratcheted down. So nice and compact. I love it. A spork for obvious reasons. And I get hassled by some people for this. I also have a long handle spoon. Why do I have both? In this trip, I want both because I'm cooking for 2 people, and I don't want to put my spork in the food that we share, to stir it up. I don't want to do that. I don't think it's considerate. So a long-handled spoon is great for stirring the stuff that's cooking in the pot. We also have a cozy, which I just made from material from Home Depot. And this is for when we cook food that will just go in a freezer bag and pour boiling water in it, and then it sits in here for a few minutes, and this keeps it a lot warmer while it's cooking. Weighs next to nothing. Thank you, NASA, which I assume developed that material. And then I have matches, including storm matches in their own plastic container to keep them dry, and a couple of Bic lighters, and a strike plate sealed in plastic so that I can light any match better in a damp situation. Okay, that's it for the kitchen. Yay, kitchen. And then for the water system, I mentioned that I have in the lid of my pack some Aquamir for easy access along the trail, but my primary water filtration system is a platypus gravity system. It all comes in this set. I have a couple of additional Aquamir in there, just because that can be faster along the trail. And I have in a resupply that's coming with a Trail Angel 300 miles into the trip, I do have an additional new filter in case, because this is not a new filter in this system, but it's working fine. Of course, I tested it before going out on the trail. It's set to go, but just in case I need to replace it. You'll notice I have 3 lightweight collapsible water bottles. Why do I have 3? Well, because part of this section has a long section without water or without much, and so sometimes you might need to, in the heat, carry as much as 3 liters. I also consider one of these might be a replacement, because sometimes these very soft ones got a hole or a tear, and then you have a problem that not even duct tape necessarily solves, but also because I regularly carry water with electrolytes in one bottle, and so having a separate color distinguishes that bottle gets used for the electrolytes and doesn't get used for that. And that's